Hi Hodinkee, and hi fellow watch community. My name is Dave Villaroman. I'm originally from the Philippines, but I spent my childhood growing up in different countries. And I'm currently based and work in Singapore in the consumer goods and e-commerce industry. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the most special and important watch in my collection, which is this Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date, reference 1500, circa 1969, which my grandfather gave to me during my college graduation. And to describe how I received this watch, I need to go a little bit into my grandfather's character and also talk a little bit about my dad's side of the family. So my grandfather was a very hardworking, stern, perceivably strict, but very loving father to his 7 children. And my dad had 3 brothers, so you must be asking yourself, why didn't any of them receive this watch? So my grandfather was a very traditional and really old-fashioned guy, similar to me and similar to my favorite drink in the bar, actually. And he had these 2 principles that he wanted to encourage his sons to follow while they were studying. The first principle was to achieve the highest standard of excellence in all the work that you do. And the second principle was to focus on your priorities and preferably not have a girlfriend during your studies. So when my dad and his 3 brothers graduated, they all graduated with honors and performed excellently. And in the same graduation ceremony, they also introduced their girlfriends to my grandfather. Now, fast forward decades later, in 2011, during my graduation, I was very blessed to be able to graduate with honors. And at the same time, I deliberately decided not to have a girlfriend until after I started my professional career and started working. You know, this really enabled me to focus on my studies and focus on the hobbies I really liked as a child, which were playing drums, playing guitar, playing in rock bands, and skateboarding. So I guess I was the only member of the family that met my grandfather's criteria to receive this watch. So a little bit about why this watch is so important to my grandfather. So he was very selfless in terms of putting his 7 kids through school, while my grandmother, instilled love and values in the household with all the children. And this was really the very first gift my grandfather decided to give himself after all the years of hard work. And he actually acquired this watch in one of his very first overseas travels to Hong Kong, and has since gone on many adventures with this watch. One of the most memorable adventures I remember was he almost lost this watch when he was visiting my uncle in Los Angeles, where he accidentally dropped this in a garbage can, and it made its way all the way to the disposal area of that apartment, where my grandfather had to go and rummage through everyone's trash, and all the neighbors thought he was a crazy guy, and he eventually found this right on time before the garbage truck arrived, and he was able to pass it to me. So aesthetically, what I really love about this watch is that it really comes from a golden era of Rolex. I think it's the epitome of, a stainless steel sports watch. I do love the jangly bracelet and that it's very thin. I think it's made of folded over steel. And I do love that it doesn't have a quick set date yet. So I literally have to wind the crown numerous times to get it to the right date every time I wear it. And I can imagine my grandfather doing the same 50 years ago when he was wearing this watch. And this ritual is something I also continue to do as I wear this watch today. I also do love the case size of the diameter. At 34 millimeters, this is rather small, but it can easily slide under any cuff, and it can go well with a suit or with jeans and a t-shirt. It's a very versatile watch. I also have to thank my dad for being instrumental with this gift, because he was able to gift me the service fee when we serviced this at Rolex, and they serviced the whole movement and also replaced the plastic crystal and the Cyclops. And that brings me to my last point, which is what makes this watch very unique, is that the original dial was actually a brushed blue dial that has since aged to the silver grayish gradient. And I believe the main reason for that was the original crystal was cracked, and I guess air or other elements seeped into it that made it age that way. So I'd just like to wrap this up by sharing something very personal. After my grandfather gave me this watch, a year later, he actually suffered a severe stroke that left half his body paralyzed and left him unable to speak. He's 80 years old this year, and I try to make a best effort to visit him and my grandmother in the Philippines as frequently as I can. And if he were able to listen and speak to me, what I would really tell him is I'm very grateful that he gave me this gift, and I've worn this in every significant milestone of my life, including all my successful job interviews, all my big meetings at work, and even the first time I asked a girl to be my girlfriend. And I would also like to tell him that for my future family, I would definitely love to continue the legacy he's given our family in terms of love, hard work, and excellence that he's instilled in all his children and grandchildren. So thank you, Hodinkee, for all the inspiration to the watch community, and I look forward to hearing more stories. Thank you.